biggest sin you can commit and the biggest trick of the shaitan. So you have to know about this thing. You have to know about it. People will take pride in erecting tall buildings and in competing with each other in these projects. Today I went to the Space Needle. I think that's what it was called. The Space Needle. And I believe it was, I was told it was the first humongous, tall, erected Space Needle in the United States. They have one in New York as well, and different places around the world. Don't we see this now? Everybody's bragging, oh, my country has the tallest building in the world. And we were just talking about Mecca now. They have right outside the Kaaba, they have this humongous building. It's now the third largest in the world. If you think about tall buildings, all you think about is either New York or Dubai. You know, they have these humongously tall, big buildings. Or Malaysia had one for a while that was, I think, the tallest in the world. Right? Or Indonesia, one of the Asian countries. So, sorry? It was Malaysia. Okay, jazakumullah khair, barakallahu fikum. So we see this now, skyscrapers. People putting these tall, erecting buildings in the sky. Wine will abound and it will be called nabith. People will use interest when trading, and bribery will be called a gift. Now we notice what this is now is the people changing the names of things. No longer will they call it a bribe, they call it a gift. They won't call it wine, they call, let's say, what do they call it? Wine coolers, or they call it something else. You know, they change the name of things in order to trick you into utilizing it. There will be, the new terminologies. Immodesty and shameless conduct will be very common. We see this now. We see this, like I said, with even the Muslims. Just the way they dress, just the way they behave, we behave very immodest sometimes. We can check ourselves with this regard. Invitation would be extended to enjoy the company of women along with food and drink. We see a lot of the young guys say, yo, are you going to go to that conference? Are you going to go over here? Yeah, any girls going to be there? And so the girls say the same thing. Are you going to go? Honey, any guys going to be there? So they're not going for the lecture. They want to see if there's any guys there. Let's go to the bathroom. Oh, I'm outside the bathroom waiting for my friend. And so they're there just to see the guys. You think somebody's stupid? We wasn't teenagers, we didn't understand that? And we're not saying we can do it, you can't. No, we're trying to save you from yourselves. The fast one is going to get burnt out. The fast one is going to get involved in something that they don't know what it is. They don't know the reality of it. You have to save yourself and control your desires. That's all it is. Controlling yourself. Unexpected deaths will be very common. How many people we know having strokes and heart attacks? It used to be someone got old or they got sick and then they died. Then, nowadays, sudden death. People dying of heart attack. People catching cancer. People getting AIDS. Then all of a sudden, they're dead. And this may not be something that young people think can happen to them, but it's happening. People will ride on thick cushions to the doors of the masjids. Sometimes we don't understand these things. What do you think this is talking about? Cars. You know, that nice thick cushion we're sitting on, riding to the masjid. So this is something that is happening. We have these cars. Women will wear garments, but they will be naked, because the dress will be thin and or tight fitting. Do we see this today? I mean, we don't even need to talk about it. The ladies will have their hair tied in buns or humps on their heads. What this means is that sometimes the ladies, they do a thing so they can show you that they got hair. Okay? They do. So they tie it. Sometimes, see, I got daughters, you know, I see this stuff that they do. You got to stop them at the door, guys. Hey, where you going? Change that thing off your head. So they put the khimar on, but the hair is there. No, you know what I'm supposed to see? It's not supposed, even your headpiece is not supposed to show what your hair is like under your head, under the khimar. Even your headpiece is not supposed to show the shape of your hair. So you have to arrange it so that's not seen. And the men have to be slick and recognize when this is happening with their daughters. And not allow these on the top ponytails or buns. And tell them to take it down. Do something else. Oh well, then you can't go. Once they hear that a couple of times, they'll be very creative. And they'll find ways of making it come where they don't show the shape of their hair. Understanding the objective here. They will wear, okay, these people will wear this in them to tempt men in themselves, okay? These people will not enter paradise, and they won't even smell the fragrance. Also, it says that the believer will be more disgraced than a slave or a slave girl. This means that, and it's not because of our little bit of numbers. What are we called today? Come on, what's the worst derogatory thing they call us nowadays, or suspect us of? Terrorists. It's almost a haram word to say in America now, right? If you know, kafirs, they can say terrorist, 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 terrorist. You know? I'm making their mics go on. They're flipping on. But as soon as a Muslim say it, oh, it's taboo. Like we can't say jihad. If you say that word, shh, akhi, taqillah. They're trying to make the language haram for you to even have that idea. Pretty soon they're going to start locking you up. If they ask you, say, do you think jihad is lawful in Islam? You say yes, you go to jail. That's that's the future. That's the future what they're going to say. Right now it's kind of like, just don't say the word. Don't talk about it. Let it disappear. So this is what's going on. The Muslims are being or looked at as very disgraced, very, ugly people. It's terrorists. These are the minor signs that we can guesstimate and say are happening now. Sometimes we can't necessarily call it. Sometimes we can clearly call it. Some things are up to perspective. These are those minor ones. The near signs, those signs that no one can reject, are basically about 9 or 10. The first one being the coming of the Mahdi. When the Mahdi comes, that's clear. The emergence of the Dajjal. When the Dajjal comes, that's going to be clear too. Or maybe it won't be. Because we say, who thinks when the Mahdi comes? Then we'll say, oh yeah, now we know it's close to the last day. You think that way? Huh? What if some guy stood up here and said, you know what, I'm the Mahdi? Would you believe him? It's a fitna, right? How do you know to believe that this guy is the Mahdi or not? This happened before in Islam.